Hey guys, thought I'd try something a little bit different. I thought I would try to run an analysis video on one of my older Yilus. This one's from May 2013. This was after about 2 years of practice. I'd spent 2 full times on the mountain, 2011 and 2012. So this is before my 3rd full time in 2013. So here we go, just the first 13 moves. Okay, so right away, right from the get-go, we can see some issues with the structure. First one's here, I'm seeing a line here and a big crooked indentation following right in there. Probably could have been fixed at least partially by widening the feet. So those 3 points. So let's run that one back. Here we go. Okay. So I'll talk on this one a lot because I see this quite frequently, where when the arm moves, it pushes the body away. So right here, we see it that as my hand comes out this way, my body shifts proportionally the opposite way. Mostly that happens when the body isn't firm enough in its structure. So ideally we do want to be pushing the hands and the arms off of something, but it should be a stronger pull. When that does happen, only the arm moves, and it moves very firmly. When it doesn't happen, the arm and the body move away from each other, which is an expression of power, but still fairly weak. So if I move it forward here, there's that kind of push away from each other. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. So in 2013, and for my first couple years of practice, I worked a lot on creating very long lines. And for me, I took that to mean a big expression in the arm. So we see here a long diagonal line. I think this is a good practice, same way that I believe it's good to practice with long stances. I think having that strong, long stretch from fingertip to fingertip starts to build some good structure in the body. So one of the down parts of that is that it can create a lot of big swings as well. And so if I move back a little bit farther, so as my foot comes out and my arm comes in, we can see almost a full swing downward of my arm. This is almost total movement of the hand. There's no elbow that's pulling in at a faster rate. Ideally, we want the elbow to be moving in first. But we see with this swing, as it comes down, it's almost a 1-to-1 movement here. And so because the hand has so much farther to move, the hand is actually moving farther than the elbow, and it's moving more than the elbow. And it's all now way, way on the inside. So this kind of swing, there's no movement on the elbow, which there should be. If the elbow should be pulling towards the waist. And it makes it difficult to move into the next part of positive circle, because now my hand is back. It's so far beyond my middle line here. To get it back is going to take a lot of work. So I'm likely going to have to compensate to make up for that lost ground. So if I move forward here, yeah, so all of this is poor positioning on the arm. If it gets caught there, I'm not going to be able to fight without moving my shoulder. And here, okay, so that's me moving back into regular positioning. So let's take that back a little bit. Big swing, okay. So there's a little bit of a good turn there as I turn my waist for positive circle. So watching here, so elbow in, all right. we're still seeing a lot of that same problem here as I draw my hand in for a positive circle. It should be elbow in, right? It should be that the elbow comes straight in and the hand likely should follow tight as a function of that. Instead, what I'm seeing here is that the hand is moving in like this and the elbow is moving in like that. Yeah, so same moves. What I do like is pay special attention to here is as I move, pull the waist, the quads coming up. So that's good, especially 2 years of practice. I focused a lot on being able to tuck in the hips, bringing up the quad. That's good. Let's keep going. Okay. So 6 ceiling, 4 closing, not great. Let's go back a little bit farther. Okay, so from here, you'll notice there's a lot of movement on the top. So I move a lot from the shoulders and less so from the hips. So not a lot of movement here. Instead, this goes back, this comes forward a lot. Let's go through it slowly. Yeah, so a lot in the shoulder tips. Even a big part of this is because my head is kind of crooked here. So my line of sight is a little bit downward. And that makes my whole line here a little bit crooked. Which makes it difficult to connect the top and bottom so that I'm moving from the waist rather than from the shoulders. It's very natural to move from the shoulders, especially when we first start. That's where the biggest moves tend to come from, but that's a big habit that we have to be able to break. So let's go back here again. 1, 2, yeah, so a lot, even the head's tossing a lot, that's a big indicator. Okay, so that's a bit of a lazy step here. Yeah, so what I mean by a lazy step is that ideally when the foot comes out, what should happen is that the head, the torso, everything drops straight down. So if I've determined here as being my silo, I don't want to move my torso over yet. I only want my foot to come out first. But instead what happens is that as my foot comes out, my whole torso, you see how much it moves? That should be 2 separate moves. The foot should come out and then the torso should move over. So that's a bit sloppy on my part. More of the same problems. Okay, so this part's actually pretty good. I like it here. Okay, so my right hand is out extended, that's good. As I move forward, so I turn in on the elbow and the shoulder. So that's what moves first here, and I'm starting to sink down onto this front leg. So we saw a little bit of movement here on this rear knee collapsing. Not ideal, but that's a pretty natural thing to happen. But I really want to sink into that front leg before I move. So let's go back a little bit. Watch that one again. Okay, so from here, when I finish the move, elbow comes in. Let's get these out of the way here. Elbow comes in, sinking onto that front foot. Okay, so here's where I collapse on the rear knee there. See that? But look how solid this here is. Okay. And I come up and down. Okay. Weight crane. Okay, so I said before I was trying to have really big open stretches. That's not at all apparent in my white crane, unfortunately. Here. Okay, so this posture, not bad. Okay, Okay, so as I move forward, it's going to be tough to see my left arm in the back there. Ideally, you want it to come all the way around. We would have to be able to turn the shoulder on this. This is a big move. So we want to be able to turn the shoulder and for it to flip all the way around. But I'm not seeing that at all on the rear shoulder. Yeah. So really, really small on the shoulders on these moves, which means it's led by the hand. Okay, so I had this problem for years where as I stepped from white crane, let's slow this one down a little bit actually. As I stepped from white crane to brush knee, I would collapse that front hand. So watch this move here. Okay, so I'm about to step. So here's the placement of my arm in relation to the body. So here. So this is my triangle. Ideally, I'd want to maintain that triangle as I step forward. Instead, what we'll see is that my arm will move backwards. It'll retreat into my torso. So let's get those out of the way here. So it comes forward. Look at that. So this triangle is still somewhat there, but it's way too far in. Ideally, my arm is out this way. Let's clear that up. My arm is out here at this angle. If I'm retreating on the arm, it makes it difficult for it to come back out. So let's go back again, watch that one. Yeah, and even here, it's like, it's even past my middle line. Like that's much too far on that arm. Okay, let's go back to normal speed. Okay. So here, initial closing. Not bad on the leg. Here, we'll see. Okay, so as I pull the leg in, it stays on the ground, which is good. Lots of people will lift it up, which it needs to be sucked in by the quad. So moving in here. Yeah, so still on the ground. The bad part here is that my body came forward as I sucked in the leg. So here my body has this kind of forward lean. We can see here line of sight, you know, fairly crooked, and it's really collapsing on downward. So this is very natural. As we pull, we want to lean in. Instead, again, so same way as when we push, we can't lean back. When we pull, we can't lean forward. Keep the torso straight and use that as a ground to anchor yourself onto. Okay, so here, same problem as with white crane. So watch the shoulders and watch the hands. So here's the opening is, okay, fairly good. But because my shoulders haven't turned over yet, my hands are already starting to move inward. So that tells me that there's no movement, there's no indication on the elbows yet. At this point, if I'm trying to flip the hands over, my elbows should be pointing, they should be pulling down already, but they're pointing out. This is the opposite of what I want to be doing. Okay, so keep going. Yeah, and so see here, my hands are moving, but my elbows are staying out. Like especially here, my hand is moving inward, but my elbow is staying out. Really not great. And it's all happening as a function of the shoulder. So that's important to notice. This is happening because my shoulders haven't turned over. They're not open enough to be able to do the move that I'm trying to do at this point. Okay, second closing. So there, some of the same problems. So step back. So this one's fair. The step is fairly good. But as I pull in on the hand, watch the hand move first. Right? So there's no pull on that elbow yet. Yeah, so it's all very outside right now. Okay. So here, same thing. Shoulders haven't turned over, but I'm moving the arms up. Not great. So here in this position, punch is too high. It should probably be closer to down here at the torso level rather than the eye level. Structure's not great. We can see here there's this same indentation, mostly as a result of my top and bottom not being very well connected at this point. Still moving a lot from the top. It also is likely because I'm tucking in my hips so much that I lose a lot of mobility in the bottom. So, but it leads to this being crooked quite a bit. Okay, let's go forward slow. Okay. So that part is actually not too bad. So as I punch, I'm not just, so there's where I finish the punch. But what I keep trying to do is I keep trying to extend through it. So that's an important part of being able to keep moving on throughout the form, is that you have to finish the move and then you have to stretch beyond it in order to move to the next one. So I'm not doing a super good job here, but there's something noticeable that I would say is a good step towards the right direction. Okay. Opening. Yeah. So again, look at this long line. That's great. Big stretch there. You know, knees are fairly far apart and open. That's good. But again, look at this kind of crookedness. Okay, just take notice of that. Okay, and then same thing there. As I draw my hand inward, because I'm so stretched out here, my hand just sweeps underneath. There's not a ton on the elbow there yet. So let's go to that slow. Yeah, big circles to finish off. Okay, so that's my quick analysis of my 13 moves. This is back in 2013. Let me know what you guys think of the format, if this is something that might be useful. I'll probably try and do this with a couple of push hands matches as well as some other Yilus. Thanks. Bye.